Kenyans are shocked. Hey, the government is broke. Hey. Now, amongst the people who are shocked are members of this channel, regulars of this channel since last year, okay, and also my Club 1999 members. Now, I've singled out those two groups because actually they should not be surprised. Yeah, why should they not be surprised? Because we predicted this last year. And by the way, that is nothing to brag about. I believe all the signs were there. It was very obvious. That is not the kind of prediction somebody makes and you tell them, well done. Hey, kumbe, you saw this when nobody saw. No. This was the kind of prediction that anybody who had eyes, not necessarily an economist, should have seen a long time ago. Even renowned economist David D has been saying for a very long time that sooner or later, things will catch up with Kenya financially. He has been saying that for a long time. Anyway, here we are. And so let's analyze what it means to us. Okay? How it will change our daily lives. Indeed, what it means going into the future. Now, if I can briefly take you back to the prediction I made last year. I said the following. That Kenya is going to face, in the year 2018, a financial and economic crisis that has never, ever before been seen in these shores. Yeah, that's what I said. However, I quickly added that it is not all gloom. And I gave an example from the United States of America. During the Great Depression, 1930s, America recorded the highest number of self-made millionaires in its entire history. In other words, when things were very bad in the country at the same time generated the highest number of new millionaires. People had nothing, but then as the depression unfolded, they became extremely wealthy. And this is from a simple fact of life. And that simple fact of life says this, that every problem is also equals to an opportunity. Actually, the other word for problem is opportunity. Big problem, big opportunities. That's really what it is. Now, I'm going to talk at length concerning that at the tail end of this series. But first of all, let's get into the real meat. How is it going to affect Kenya politically? In one short sentence, economic upheaval equals political upheaval, even in a country where the politics are so tribal. Okay? Now, let me tell you a story. A personal story. You guys have told me you really love my personal stories. So let me tell you a personal story to illustrate this very, very well. Some years back, I got a very interesting consultancy job. I was not a consultant. But some people just approached me. They said, oh, we have heard that you really understand the magazine business. Now we're in big trouble. We are very heavily in debt. We owe over 300,000 shillings. And the debts are just mounting. Every month, every day, the debts are just mounting. Okay? And they also told me, would have shut down this thing a long time ago. Would have just shut it down and sent everybody home. But there's one problem. Where we borrowed the initial seed money to start this business, we cannot afford to lose that money. Okay? So what we want to do, we are determined to do everything possible just to recover that money. Therefore, if you can just recover that money for us, through this business, we will be very happy and we can do anything for you. Now, obviously, for them to even call me in, they had some faith in me. From my track record up to that particular point in time. Everybody is born with a gift, and the trick is to find your gift, okay? Because that is the trickiest part, and it's very tricky. Anyway, so some people are born with a gift. And when you're born with this gift, there are some things you just understand. You can understand them in your sleep. They come so easy to you. Other people struggle, but to you it's very easy. Nothing to brag about. Everybody is wired differently. And everybody is brought onto this earth with something special. Yeah, it's just finding it that is the issue. So I took on this consultancy job. Now, God just helped me. Yeah, I just believe that is the truth. Because normally, if you go into any organization, you're bound to meet resistance. And I met crazy resistance. Everybody was so used to the old ways, yeah, that were making losses, that they did not want to abandon the old ways. They believed that the old ways were best. So within a very short time, I was forced to go back to the guys who hired me and tell them, look, yeah, it was a board of about 4 people, yeah, rather a partnership of about 4 people. I told them, look, there's no way I'm going to be able to do my job here if I'm meeting so much resistance, if nobody wants to change, okay? And so people reluctantly agreed. The marketing manager told me, you're dreaming. This cannot work, yeah? This is not normal in this industry. You can't do that, yeah? The finance people even refused to cooperate. Now, these guys had very good finance people, yeah? Masters, PhDs, etc., etc. They just told me, you're dreaming. No, we can't help you do this. And so, in fact, what I was forced to do was to create my own financial system. You know, a simple piece of paper. One column you put down what you're spending. The other column you put down what the income that's coming in. Very simple. So that at the end of every day, you draw a line and you find out you've spent X amount of money and you've brought in Y amount of money. Yeah. But let me not bore you the details. After about 40 days of this operation, these guys had recovered about 30% of their money. And they were very excited. Now, what I didn't know was that even as I was hired as a consultant, there were other people running the same magazine. But what had happened is that they had been sent on a short leave. Yeah, they just been told. In fact, they had been lied to. They had been told, oh, you know, this thing is not doing well. So can you guys just go away for about a month or so, come back next month, and then we'll sit down and chat the way forward. Now, in the minds of the owners, this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to bring in a consultant. The consultant shows them a trick or two, and then they retain these other people who were already hired. Okay. Now, one of the reasons they wanted to retain these other people who were hired was tribal. The owners of this organization hailed from the house of Mumbi. And if there's one community in Kenya who knows how to take care of their own, it's the house of Mumbi. And by the way, that's not a negative thing. It's a positive thing. Yeah. If other communities in Kenya would learn how to take care of their own, that would be nice. And so when I walked in, I didn't know this was the plan. And in any case, I knew this was just a contract job that I was doing. I was going to do it. In fact, initially they had given me 3 months. Yeah, do this thing for 3 months. We see what happens, but we can terminate the contract at any time. That meant they wanted to see if I was making any progress, and then they would easily cut it short if I was not making any headway. Yeah, makes sense. It makes business sense. Business is not human rights. Yeah, business is very ruthless and brutal. So after 40 days, these guys got so excited that there was a very curious meeting within the office. I saw 3 gentlemen walk in, actually 2 gentlemen. Yeah, I was introduced to them as managing editor and the deputy managing editor. And my office was just right next to the MD's office, and I had a lot of shouting during that meeting. So the meeting was over. And then these 2 chaps went over to say hi to their friends at the finance department. And it looks like they went into a full-fledged meeting. Yeah, talking about how the wrong decision had been made, how I was going to bring this ship down, etc., etc. Now, if you have worked in any organization, you will know that you cannot avoid going into accounts. You can't, especially if you're in senior management, yeah? So at some point during this discussion, I walked in. Now, you know, one of my weaknesses, I'm a very humble guy, yeah? So they actually started interrogating me. What qualifications do you have? Do you know anything about finance? Blah, 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 blah. This Jokali system of yours, how far do you think it's going to take you? And so on and so forth. Anyway, to cut a long story short, what I really wanted to focus on was why did these people make a non-tribal decision? Yeah, people who are extremely tribal ended up making a non-tribal decision. Yeah. They decided that yes, We made a contract with these guys. Yes, we have to look after our own. But now here, what is involved is something called besha, mbia. The directors were very excited. They were going to make some money. And therefore, their tribal emotions were thrown out of the window. And these two poor fellows could not understand what had happened. Okay? And indeed, in the next 2-3 years, when that contract of mine existed, because I just bailed out, yeah, I was drowned out by tribalism. Because the organization became stable, and finally tribalism came back. Okay? In those 2-3 years, they made huge profits. Huge profits. They reinvested in other businesses. They did very well. They fully recovered. The first thing that happened is they fully recovered the money they could not afford to lose. Yeah. Now, it's the same, because now what Kenya is facing is an economic crisis. It's all about money. And one of the first things that happens when you don't have money as an individual is that it affects something very important called the stomach. Yeah. Food becomes a problem. Okay. So stomach and economy, yeah, stomach and money are very closely linked. And this is where the politics will come in. This is where the politics will kick in brutally. Already we are seeing the first signs of that. Certain people are asking, we supported Jubilee fully. Yeah, Jubilee had a very hard time in this election. We fully backed them. We went out of our way. We supported them. And now they're back in power. Why is so-and-so benefiting and we are not benefiting? Why? This is not fair. Now, the next thing you're going to hear is that we as a county, we as a community supported Jubilee. Why are we suffering like the other communities, yeah, which did not support Jubilee? Why? And indeed, already we have had a suggestion that the development of the Jubilee government should focus on Jubilee areas, yeah, and ignore NASA areas. You've heard that argument, haven't you? Of course, that is constitutionally impossible. Yeah, it is impossible. You cannot divide the country and say the development is only going to go into a certain area. Yeah, even common sense dictates that you can't do that for a very simple reason. Those NASA areas are resource rich. You rely on those NASA areas to bring in even that income that you want to distribute only in Jubilee zones. You get my drift? So it can't work. But my point is, those are the sentiments. And those sentiments are going to grow louder and louder politically. And it means, if by mistake there's an election, people will think twice before voting tribally. In other words, people will be voting with their stomachs rather than their hearts. It's just human nature. Yeah? Because if you're hungry, where do emotions come in? If you're hungry, you're going to look for the easiest way, the shortest shortcut to be able to land in food, yeah, to be able to get out of the mess you're in. It's as simple as that. Now, NASA supporters may be here listening to this and it's just music to their ears. However, there's a very huge problem here that will affect all of us. And it's simply this: political stability. Yeah, you need political stability to do anything. Yeah, even your economic activities, all your activities cannot operate, cannot work unless you have something called political stability. I'll give you a very clear, simple example. Siad Barre was president of Somalia. He ruled with a very iron hand. Yeah, he was draconian. Yeah, but in Somalia at that time there was something called political stability. Now, when he was removed, everybody was happy. People celebrated, yeah, in the 80s. But you see, what happened? Since Siad Barre left office, Somalia has never ever come anywhere near, yeah, anything called political stability. And this has affected even its neighbors, including Kenya. Kenya, we have been hit very hard by the instability in Somalia. And so the long and short of it, even those people who celebrated removing Siad Barre, and even those people who removed him, did not end up benefiting. Yeah? And so, political upheaval and political instability, yeah, caused by our great economic problems, the huge financial debt the country has landed into, is not going to help anybody. It's not going to help the opposition. It's not going to help Jubilee supporters. It is going to help absolutely nobody. And therefore, the long and short of it is that it's in our best interest, all of us, to look for something called political stability. Because without it, we all lose. It's as simple as that. Now, in the next episode, we're going to go into some even more interesting things, including the root cause of our problems. I'm sure you don't know what it is, okay? But it's something very simple, okay? See you there in a bit. You know the usual drill. Click on the link on your top left-hand corner of the screen. As soon as that video is ready, you'll be able to go right through to it. I hope to see you there. This is Kshs Kumekucha.